Hello, you are tuning into Uneducated Guests with Josiah. I'm your host, Josiah. I'm a senior in high school that has to do a project for a college class but didn't feel like looking anything up, so here I am. Today's topic is fraud. Well, that's not really the topic name. That's just a generalization, I'm covering a broad spectrum today, but yeah, it's also a very thin line. I'm going to talk about credit card fraud, identity theft, and things of among the likeness. So, credit card fraud, it is, from what I understand, a growing epidemic, and it's not necessarily always the user's fault, but it can be sometimes. But hackers and things of the sort, like scammers, are getting a lot smarter than we give them credit for. I know someone in my family has had their money taken several times from credit card frauds. They have these little devices nowadays, I'm pretty sure, that will basically read the information off of your debit card, credit card, whatever it is, and basically download it to a blank card. And it is causing a lot of people to have their information stolen, have their identity taken, basically. And are banks too trusting? That's like the real question. Are banks too trusting of people like my bank? I went down to, I forgot where it was. I was out of town, and they instantly shut down my card because I forgot what I was even trying to purchase, but I was livid because so you're supposed to call your bank. I do that when I leave town, but they were trying to say that it wasn't working. It was very annoying. Basically, you call your bank and tell them that you were going out of town, like where you're going and stuff, for how many days or whatever, right? And they'll accept it. But sometimes they just won't do it till after it's been your card has been ran a few times, and it's really frustrating, especially if someone can also use your cards like in the same city you live in. So if it's someone local that steals from you, you're boned. Like I also was trying to buy stuff from an online store, and my bank account was like, oh, it's in a different, it's overseas, we don't trust it, and basically it's like, were you trying to buy something from blah blah blah? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, sorry, your card will start working like normal. I'm like, thanks for shutting my card down, because that makes sense that this morning I bought coffee in my city, then when I buy something online from Britain, it's instantly, oh, he must have got his identity stolen. It's ridiculous. But actually, something like this has happened to me again, except this time I got my money stolen from me, except it was not on my actual debit card. It was on a prepaid Visa I got. I have had 2 false transactions, and it's completely ridiculous. So I bought a belt off of an online store because I liked how it looked, and I just thought it was a really nice belt. And it looked like a trustworthy site to me. I'm pretty, I would say, literate on and up to current dates on different things, like on what's on the internet and stuff like that. But it had everything look normal. I bought the belt on a Friday at about midnight, about midnight. So I didn't get the confirmation email for my belt. But I'm like, this is probably closed site. I'll just wait till Monday. Monday came. I still did not get a confirmation email from the website. So, you know how Amazon and UPS give you like tracking codes and stuff like that, and it'll like, oh, your information's here. Well, that site looked all normal, did all that stuff. I paid through PayPal, and still no confirmation email. I was very concerned at this point, and I go back about a week later to check on the website, and it does not exist. And I was completely blown away because I had been emailing these. Before it didn't exist, I was emailing them to no prevail, because it says if you have problems, contact, I think it was shopform11@gmail.com, and I go to the site again to check my previous stuff, and it's still the same loading screen. It's like, oh, customers information, which was my address to like the shipping address to and the billing address and what I bought and all that stuff. And I decided on a whim to click continue shopping on that same site, and the site did not exist. I then looked up the site just because it was like, oh, it probably just reset the site and it's probably just refreshing or something on that email. I type it into Google, it doesn't exist. So at this point, I'm like, I got scammed. That's completely ridiculous. And I cannot believe that happened to me, of all people, because it's happened a lot to other people I know, but you never think it's going to happen to you till now. I mean, it wasn't much money, but it's still a considerable amount. It's still ridiculous that they would do that. And then another time happened. I was using a vending machine, as I generally do. If you know me from Richland, I'm always snacking on a burrito or something like that, or I'm at the vending machines getting more snacks. Well, the vending machine did not register my card, didn't give me any product, right? And so I clicked complete because I tried twice, didn't give me anything, and it said it wasn't working. So I go on about my day, and the other day I checked my card balance because it was a prepaid Visa card, so I can check the balance on their online site, and it said at 7:39 p.m. I had purchased $2.50 worth of at the USA canteen. I mean, yes, that doesn't sound like a munch, but I'm kind of broke. So it's money to me, and I don't like being taken advantage of in that sense that they would steal money from me, and I don't find that tolerable. I find that completely absurd and completely ridiculous. So I called the company, and apparently it takes 120 days for them to file a case and everything, and I'm fine with that. I'm hoping they do something about it. But my order number for the belt was 1,208. So that means 1,207 people have gotten scammed before me, and it's unjust. It's completely disgusting and despicable on how many people can get scammed and robbed blind like that without even knowing better. And I can't deal with it. It's completely idiotic. It's completely absurd. Like my the person that I'm related to that got scammed, they just got a check right after they had gotten their payday, and they had their entire bank account emptied out, and it's sickening knowing that people just take someone's life savings like that. They eventually did get their everything back. I know someone else, I think it was one of my teachers, I'm not 100% sure on this. There were my teachers that got their card taken, no, not taken, they got their card information taken, and somebody apparently bought several TVs at Walmart. I mean, they did catch the person, obviously, because they just kept going back to the same stores and buying a ridiculous amount of TVs and stuff like that. I mean, they did get caught, but imagine if they didn't get caught. You know how ridiculous that would be? How much money that person would have lost if they just got away with it. And so I'm thinking banks are too trusting, and this can literally happen to anyone. It's happened to several people I know. It's happened to me. Identity theft is a growing epidemic. I remember some statistics somewhere. I can't remember the exact numbers, but banks and among other internet sites have leaked so much online information, so much personal data, and gotten just like everyone just have been getting robbed blind by it, and it's completely ridiculous on how sites like Wells Fargo, I think, is one of them. Wells Fargo is one of those sites that got scammed. Well, they didn't get scammed. They basically leaked a bunch of people's information. I mean, I'm not sure if it was. I don't think it was volunteer. I don't think it was on purpose. I don't think they would willingly give away and lose customers' information like that. I mean, I've heard of some despicable things, but come on. So they are one of the biggest blunders. There also, I think there was a CEO there that was stealing people's money or something. I'm not sure. Wells Fargo was in big trouble a while ago. I remember that. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was a couple years, maybe. I'm not exact on my dates. I will do this information, but it is people are getting their scammers are getting smarter and smarter with how they steal your information, whether it be a few dollars. Like one of my teachers was just telling me about how his father had gotten scammed out of money, and it's completely ridiculous. They basically made a site on his father is obviously an older gentleman, but the site was basically how to buy a driver's ed book to renew your license, and it looked basically identical to the site we have, and they scammed him out of $15, I think, and he ended up getting nothing out of it. And he did get his money back, but they still scammed him out of $3. They were not able to refund. And I mean that's a menial amount, but it does not matter. They are stealing from hardworking people that do things for a living just to get a quick buck, and it's despicable. Stealing from people like that, whether they are elderly or young, it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people getting frauded are elderly, however, because they're not necessarily technologically literate. They don't necessarily understand how to spot a fake website or how to spot when someone's scamming them. And I'm not trying to say this to you. I'm being genuine. And it's absurd that people would target elderly like this and basically just steal from them for fun to make a quick buck. Our elderly are one of our biggest resources, wealths of knowledge and wisdom, and people treat them so badly or will steal from them, and it's sickening. People will have to steal money from people who desperately need it, who are barely scraping by, but scammers do not care. They'd rather steal from you, steal your identity, go on trips to feed you with your money, rather than actually get a job or do something productive with their life. They would rather be criminals that target elderly or people like that. Credit card scamming is not new. It's just it's easier for scammers to do it. So they will go out and steal people's information with their little card readers, print it on a blank card, and use it as much as they want with no repercussions, seeing as how I think debit cards you can use a PIN, but a lot of small banks will charge you if you use your PIN too much. So you just swipe with no repercussions, and it's despicable how people can just steal your money if they're local or something like that. Like, yeah, your bank will shut it down if it's like out of state or a different place than what you're normally at, but I don't think that's doing enough. I think there needs to be more security for banking and stuff like that, because it is someone's livelihood here, and it's completely despicable seeing people get robbed of that when a lot of people barely make enough money to scrape by, to barely pay rent, and then people are just going to steal all they have. I mean, stealing from a person like directly is bad enough. Like, I understand if you're down and out and rob a bank or something like that. Banks are insured. Not all people are, though, and that's why I think it's a lot bigger problem for personal gain to steal from an actual person rather than a corporation or something like that, because they're insured. They can make their money back. A normal everyday people can't. When you steal from a normal everyday person, you have no morals. You do not care about well-being of anyone. And it's sickening to see so many people get destroyed, their lives ruined because people stole their identity. I know one girl, she didn't have money stolen, but she had her identity stolen, basically. in a sense that we all go to the same school, right? And we have these school accounts, and our school's default password is our initials, I believe. Most people have changed them now, but it was freshman year. Her ex-boyfriend logged into her school account using the default password and basically posted her information on all of her Google Classrooms. I'm talking her address, her family members' names, her everything, and it's completely despicable. It's sickening to see people treat other people like that, and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, yes, they'll get in trouble, but that information's out there forever now. They cannot be safe. I mean, yes, they can change the passwords, do everything like that, but they will never be safe again. You stole their security. You did more than just steal money or monetary valued things. You stole their privacy. You stole their faith and security. You stole that sense of safety from them that everyone should always have. And it's sickening to see people be destroyed so easily by that, so quickly. And I'm not sure if we as a people can keep doing this if we're just going to destroy our fellow man or do something of the sort, when it's just so sickening to see our information get stolen, our money get stolen, or when people run into our houses or rob you on the street blind. It's all the same. They're all stealing your sense of security, your sense of safety. And that's why there's so many cameras nowadays, because you can't trust anyone. The sense of paranoia in America is so blatant, so strong, that you can't trust anyone. You can't trust your friends that you've known for years because they will rob you blind. You can't trust your neighbors because they will protect those who robbed you. We used to have a neighbor. We did get robbed. They caught one of the 3 or 4 guys that robbed us. We got nothing back. The insurance company paid for some of the losses, but it wasn't nearly what we had. They stole a lot of money from us, and we did not get much back. They stole electronics. That's mainly what they stole. They trashed our house, and they didn't serve justice for it. And it's sickening to see people like this steal, because it's just so hard. Now we've got cameras, but that sense of security has been replaced due to our security being upped. But people just don't have the sense of security they used to, because crime is rampant in our streets and robberies are happening daily. You can be walking to your car and get mugged, and it's sickening to see all this happen. Or maybe it's not even increasing. Maybe the awareness of it is just more rampant. Maybe our social media is why we think crime is so terrible. Maybe it's why we have such a nihilistic view on life, because we see the atrocities that are occurring every day. We see people stealing and hurting the elderly. We see people getting shot down in the street. It's sickening to see that people can just do this at their own luxury, destroy people's sense of security, destroy people's hopes and dreams. Basically, you're just hurting society. The more you destroy, the more cameras and walls we put up, the more boundaries we are setting for ourselves and for anyone that comes near us, the more crime and the more violence that happens in our streets, the more destructive it is towards society's progression as a people, as a trusting, caring individuals, because you can't trust anyone in these days, and it's hard to see friends at friends' throats with knives, families turned against each other. You can't trust anyone anymore. I was told of a family member, they're not a direct family, but I heard about this basically someone's nephew. Their aunt is very elderly, and they stole her car. They stole her money from them. She was very nice. She was a very caring and kind person, and she let them borrow money to pay their rent, and they never paid her back, or they stole from her even more. And it's sickening to see that you would do that to, let alone the elderly, but your own family. When there is no trust between family, there is nothing. When you can't trust your own blood relatives, you can't trust anyone. You can't trust your friends, you can't trust your family, you can't trust your government to keep you safe. Because even the government will rob you blind. They are taking 30% of our paychecks. That is 30%. No matter what we do, if we don't cut the taxes, our people will still live in poverty. It doesn't matter if they raise the minimum wage. Our government will still steal 30%. Say if you make $10, you're an hour, you are only making $7 still. So for $15, that would be 30%. 33% would be about $5. So they're stealing. So even if you make $15, you're still only technically making around $11 to $12 an hour. And they're stealing money from people, and people don't seem to mind. People are like, if we get paid more, it'll be better. No, the government will still steal your taxes. It is the government's fault. It is not your fellow mans that are making more money than you. It's not your fellow women that are asking for equal wages, even though we all get paid because it's illegal not to. I'm just saying, the government is to blame for stealing your money. If you get paid more money, products prices will rise, and the government will be forced to steal even more of your paycheck to pay its workers. Or say $1, or you made $2, enough to, this is just hypothetical obviously, you make $2 at the end of the week, and $1 for rent, or 50 cents for necessities, $1 for rent, and you have that extra 50 cents to save. Well, now your rent is $2 and you can't afford the necessities of life to live. Or you're making $3 and necessities are $1 and rent is $2. Now you can't even put any money away, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. You are being starved because your government is stealing your taxes. It's stealing your money, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you stand and fight for what you believe in. That is the only way you will ever be rid of it, is if the taxes are cut, or you protect your fellow man from being robbed by others that have malintent that would harm anyone just for a quick buck. And it's sickening to see that's how our society is, but we have no security anymore. There is no safety among men. There is only deceit, deception, and destruction, and we need to protect each other. We need to stand and fight those who would harm our brethren. That's all the time I have for today. I'm going to do some research. Hope you guys have a good day or whatever. Elevator music, go. Hey guys, I'm back for the second time today, and I say second because I was going to record a new episode, but then I opened my flash drive and realized I already recorded the first part of fraud and completely spaced out. So I did some research. Well, I did actually quite a bit of research on how to prevent fraud, and I've got a few statistics on it after. But this is more of an informational episode today because there's just a lot of information and a lot more fraud than I actually originally thought, and it's kind of ridiculous. Under federal law, you are not responsible for any charges if you report your card missing before someone else has used it, and you are not liable for more than $50 if it has been used, as long as you report the problem promptly. Most card issuers have voluntary policies to remove unauthorized charges completely if consumers report them as soon as they discover them. If you're not sure what your issuer's policy is, ask. Someone may claim to be connected with your credit card issuer and ask to verify your account number to make sure you're protected. Your real credit card issuer doesn't need your account number, it already has it. Don't leave your card lying around your home or office where others can see it, and don't lend it to anyone. If you want someone else to be authorized to use your account, make those arrangements through your card issuer. Only give your credit card number when you are actually making a purchase. Follow the instructions on your bill for questioning or disputing charges. Don't send a note with your payment. Since a separate department usually handles disputes, make copies of any forms or letters that you send your credit card issuer about the dispute, and be sure to pay the rest of your bill on time. Keep a file with your credit card issuer's name and telephone number and your account number. Have this separate from your purse or wallet in case it's stolen too. It may be a search company that is offering to help. Wow. So I just completely switched gears. So that was just how to spot like normal credit card fraud and debit card too, if you use that. But that's all in the same kind of category. You've just gotta. So once you figure it out, you've always got to report it, and you've got to make sure that it's all fixed by your credit card company. Now I'm going to get into something for the younger generation, scholarships, like false scholarships type of deals and stuff like that. Because people do get scammed out of money during scholarship time and stuff like that. It may be a search company that is offering to help locate scholarships for which you may be eligible, rather than a foundation that actually awards scholarships. Most foundations don't charge a fee to apply for a scholarship. If they do, it is very small. Scholarship search companies always charge for their services. No search service can control the decisions of scholarship sponsors. A search service should be willing to give you a written explanation of exactly how it works. The company should explain upfront whether you can get your money back if you don't receive a scholarship, and what you have to do to qualify for a refund. Some fraudulent search services set difficult requirements, such as obtaining letters of rejection from each scholarship listing, to make it virtually impossible to get a refund. Now, that was a lot of S's, and I do apologize if I stutter or something of the sort. Search service may provide information that is outdated or doesn't apply to you. You may be better off finding scholarships yourself. Ask your high school guidance counselor and college financial aid offices for help. Another good source of information is College Parents of America. And I'm assuming that there's a hyperlink in this because I just copy and pasted that. But I'm assuming that's the website they have. But yeah, so a lot of search services, I guess is what it's called, scholarship search services. Sally sells seashores by the seashore. Jeez. But yeah, there's a lot of services out there that will scam you out of your money if you're trying to apply for a college or just a college student in general. And it's really bad, but I'm about to get into something even worse. They're called grandparent scams. And it's obviously, elderly people, aka grandparents. Most of the time, probably. Most all the time. That's why it's called grandparent scams. Duh. The victim is urged not to tell anyone, such as the parent of the quote-unquote grandchild, because they do not want them to find out about the trouble they've gotten themselves into. The grandparent never hears from their fake grandchild again and is tricked out of hundreds or even thousands of dollars. To detect and avoid the grandparent scam, NCL's Fraud Center recommends the following tips. Beware of any urgent solicitation of funds, especially if it is needed to pay for unexpected bills such as bail money, lawyer's fees, or doctor's bills. Before sending funds independently, contact the relative, quote, or not quote, parentheses, or parent of the relative the scam artist is claiming to be or represent at a known phone number to verify the details of the story. Scam artist's payment method of choice is the wire transfer. Any urgent request to wire money should be treated suspiciously. Be aware that fraudsters attempting the grandparent scam may call late at night to confuse potential victims. Consumers who have been victims of the scam should immediately report it to local law enforcement, their state attorneys general, and NCL's Fraud Center at fraud.org. If you're approached by an unfamiliar charity, wow. I keep switching topics like that without even meaning to, because I'm a mess when I take my notes. Well, not really take it's sort of notes. But this is fraudulent charities, which also targets elderly people or older people. If you're approached by an unfamiliar charity, check it out. Most states require charities to register with them and file annual reports showing how they use donations. Ask your state or local consumer protection agency how to get this information. The Better Business Bureau, WISE, BBB, Giving Alliance also offers information about national charities. Call 703-276-0100 or go to give.org. Ask for written information. Legitimate charities will be happy to provide details about what they do and will never insist that you act immediately. Beware of sound-alikes. Some crooks try to fool people by using names that are very similar to those legitimate, well-known charities. Ask about the caller's relation to the charity. The caller may be a professional fundraiser, not an employee or a volunteer. Ask what percentage of donations goes to the charity and how much the fundraiser gets. Be wary of requests to support police or firefighters. Some fraudulent fundraisers claim that donations will benefit police or firefighters when in fact little or no money goes to them. Contact your local police or fire department to find out if the claims are true and what percentage of donations, if any, they will receive. Be especially cautious after natural or other disasters. Fraudulent charities take advantage of those situations to trick people who want to aid the victims. If you're not sure whether a charity is legitimate, check it out with your state charities regulator and the BBB before you donate, which is the Better Business Bureau, as I read earlier. And this is now on stolen identity, basically. If you know their identity has been stolen as a result of a data breach, take these steps to contain the damage. More information or identity fraud can be found in our Data Breach HQ. File a complaint with the FTC with its online form or call 1-877-438-4338. They will create an FTC identity theft affidavit for you that you will need throughout the rest of the process. Remember to print and save your affidavit for future reference because you will not be able to retrieve it from that page again. File a report with your local police department. Combine your FTC identity theft affidavit with your police report for your identity theft report. This will prove to businesses and financial institutions that your identity has been stolen. Call the fraud departments of the companies where you know identity theft occurred. Have them freeze or close your accounts. Change all your login information for these companies. Contact either Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. Transfusion, TransUnion, same thing. That makes sense. And have them place a fraud alert on your account. The credit reporting agency you contact is legally required to notify the other two agencies. A fraud alert will flag your account as a potential victim of fraud and that creditors should take extra steps to verify your identity before issuing credit. Be sure to monitor your credit reports on an ongoing basis and be on the lookout for a confirmation letter from each bureau that your fraud alert has been processed. Get your free credit report, not card, from annualcreditreport.com or call 1-877-322-8228. If you have already ordered your one free credit report per year, you can pay to get your report immediately. Review your report as soon as possible and note fraudulent charges that you can report to the police and FTC. After you have your identity theft report, take the following steps. Find new accounts that you did not open and call the fraudulent department of each business to have them close your fraudulent accounts and remove any fraudulent charges. Ask for a letter from the business to confirm that you aren't liable for the fraudulent charges, the fraudulent account is not yours, and that it was removed from your credit report. Use the FTT's sample letter. Write to each of the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, to correct your credit report. Use the FTC's sample letter. And include your identity theft report and proof of your identity. You have the legal right to have fraudulent activity voided from your credit report if your identity has been stolen, which is called blocking. Once the faulty information is blocked, it won't affect your credit report and companies can't try to collect debt from you. Tax identity fraud. This is still fraud, but it's on tax identity fraud, which is during tax season. Tax identity fraud is difficult to catch before the fraud occurs. However, consumers fall victim to tax identity fraud, often in one of the following ways. If someone else has already filed a tax return using your personal information, such as Social Security number, they may get your refund. When you later file your own return, the IRS will send you a notice letter indicating that your refund has already been sent out. When someone else uses your Social Security number to obtain employment, the employer will report those earnings to the IRS when you file your tax return. You won't include the identity theft's earnings in your return. When the IRS notices the discrepancy, they will send you a letter stating that you failed to declare all your income. If your income does not meet a certain threshold, you may not be required to file taxes. However, if someone else using your Social Security number to obtain employment fails to file taxes, your account may end up in collections. A collections notice from the IRS may be a sign of tax identity theft. And according to 2018 Identity Fraud enters a new era of complexity from Javelin Strategy and Research. In 2017, there were 16.7 million victims of identity fraud, a record high that followed a previous record the year before. Criminals are engaging in complex identity fraud schemes that are leaving record numbers of victims in their wake. The amount stolen hit $16.8 billion last year, as 30% of U.S. consumers were noticed exposure to a data breach last year, an increase of 12% from 2016. For the first time, more Social Security numbers were exposed than credit card numbers. And these are just ridiculous numbers, so you guys should stay safe out there. And I got this information from fraud.org and III.org. That is III.org. And it's ridiculous out there, so stay safe, guys. Stay vigilant, and don't get scammed. I will see you guys on the next episode. Have a good day, night, week, whenever you're listening to this. That's all for today. Bye, guys.